All right, everybody, welcome back to Overdunk, your favorite competitive Pokemon Unite podcast. I am Zoinks, joined as always by Bridget, and we got a really fun episode today, Bridget. We got a lot to talk about, actually. Our pre-show was rambling on longer than it normally does here on Twitch if you're watching this live, because we literally have so much to talk about. More news about the auto battler that we hinted at a little bit on last podcast. A brand new release has hit the game in Galarian Rapidash. We got a lot of information, and Bridget's been putting in the hours playing that Pokemon as well. We got news about the Asia Champions League. 2 of the 3 regions competing in it have completed their playoffs, as well as February Cup for every UCS region is right around the corner. So, a lot to talk about, Bridget. Before we get into any of it, how has your last week been?
It's been pretty good. I've been very tired,
Okay.
as Zoinks knows. Lots of naps for me, but doing good otherwise.
That's awesome. Me and the entire community are just happy when Bridget is getting rest and feeling better, you know? So, W there. For those of you big Doof Snacks fans, unfortunately, Doof Snacks traveling for work this week, so he could not make it to the podcast, but he has had a lot to say about this Pokemon release, as well as some of the new game modes, as well as the tournament upcoming, which he will be returning to the microphone. Very excited. Sprinkles of Doof Snacks. Going to be casting the monthly tournament again this weekend. I think something that everybody should be excited for, because love those two gentlemen, the voices of Pokemon Unite at this point. It's gonna be awesome. So let's get into it. Bridget, should we start with the new release Pokemon, or should we start with an update on the Auto Chess Auto Battler version on the China version of the game?
Let's do the auto chess update first.
Cool. Okay, so the update I'm going to start with is I played it, and I've been playing it a decent amount. I went to China, been hanging out there for a while, got a chance to play the game. I'm still playing the game, and I was very happy to report the game was an absolute blast. It is really, really fun. I am what I would call a auto battler novice. Like, I'm not exactly brand new to the genre. I have tested the waters with a couple of games, and I'll be the first to admit, I have never really liked them. This genre of game has kind of been off-putting to me. It's like RNG and strategy sort of mixed into one, but I don't know. The biggest problem for me in a lot of this genre of game is just the information overload that is necessary often. A lot of auto battles, it feels, and that's an important distinction that I'm going to make, because one of the best parts of the Pokemon Unite auto battler is that I feel like it balances the level of complexity with a new player experience better than any auto battler I have actually seen or played. And I've gotten reports from multiple people that have said that. Is like, it is pretty simple to pick up. It's very easy to understand. I'm like, okay, I got more fighting Pokemon. They're doing more damage, whatever. Like, that synergy is easier. The Pokemon pool isn't incredibly wide. So it's like, okay, if I want fire, these are kind of my 3 options. If I want water, these are my 5 options, or whatever that is. That part is really straightforward, but the level of depth and the level of, maybe not even level, but quantity of options you have in game feel amazing and really rewarding. Like, for example, there is I think 7 or 8 main synergies in the game that you can have on your Pokemon, and almost all of them, I know Grass has been getting some downward looks from a lot of people, but every other one feels really viable and strong. Like, I feel like I could win with any one of those synergies. And not to mention the amount of items that you can get in the game, like a huge library of items that distinctly change the Pokemon. And then one of the really cool things, this is my final thing before I let Bridget talk about what she's seen of the game, but the final thing that I think is really cool in this auto battler compared to others is that they keep that unique feature from Pokemon Unite of choosing your moves kind of mid-game.
Wow.
So every Pokemon, once they get to the 2-star rating, every Pokemon can have a 1-star rating, a 2-star rating, and a 3-star rating. You up their stars by collecting multiple of them. if you've never seen auto battlers, that'll be kind of new information, maybe tough to wrap your head around unless you see it. But if anybody's played auto battlers, it's a very familiar concept. Once you're at that 2-star level, you have options between 2 different moves, and oftentimes they operate extremely differently. So, like they do in a regular game of Pokemon Unite. If you want to make Wigglytuff into a crowd control focused defender, you're going to equip Sing. But if you want to make Wigglytuff into a more of a brawler, you're going to pick, Rollout in a standard game of Pokemon Unite. In this version, you pick Dazzling Gleam, but it still is to the same effect. It is going to be, do you want your Wigglytuff to do a bit more damage, or do you want them to be more crowd control? And you have a lot of opportunities to pivot throughout the game, which is awesome. And yes, Rollout would be really sick if it was in there, now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, very, very, very happy with this first iteration of the game. We'll see where it goes from here. But Bridget, any thoughts on the game from what you've seen? I know a few people have been streaming it, Chris, Jake, me. Any thoughts on it?
Not totally for me, other than what I pretty much expressed on the last episode, but also just really, I think we were pretty excited about it initially, but especially hearing your firsthand account, seeing all the other content creators get into it and speak so highly of it makes me even more excited and hopeful. I had this question as well, so did Landheads from the chat. Is pretty much every mon in the auto chess mode, or are there ones missing?
There are quite a few missing. I would say that about half the roster of the game is in a like a pickable Pokemon that you can have as you're playing the game. And then there's some cool different additions. For example, Zapdos is a pickable Pokemon in the auto chess mode, and he's what's called a legendary unit, or I don't actually know if that's the term, but they're an orange unit, the highest
EX
tier.
Yeah,
potentially. But so is Clefable. So Clefable enjoyers rise up.
Finally, give her some respect.
But basically, what that classification means is that Pokemon does not evolve. It just at a 1-star level, it comes in as its fully evolved form. So Tyranitar and Gengar are that way. But they kind of have unique mechanics for the most part, where Gengar and Zapdos and Dragonite all have like a unique passive. It's like they have a synergy unto themselves. Like, if you just have one of them, your whole team gets a buff. For example, Zapdos is a special attack bonus for the entire team. Snorlax has a healing bonus for the whole squad, I believe, or maybe just a max HP boost, one of the two. I'm not too sure. Again, we're working with translations, and I don't remember all of it. So, yeah, it has some unique factors. One thing I will say, there is no ghost synergy in the game yet, so my Zoink's heart is breaking. I would love to have it, but if I'm being completely honest, I actually don't know the entire roster of available Pokemon in the China version up until this point. I know they have been on a breakneck release schedule to try to catch up to the global version. They're kind of doing this hybrid of where they're releasing Pokemon that we've had for quite some time, but trying to give preference to the new Pokemon being added to the game. So, for example, Miraidon was added right around the exact same time as Miraidon was added to our game. Or at least, that's not technically true. I think the China version came out post-Miraidon release. But Miraidon was one of the fastest releases. Well, however, Galarian and Rapidash, not in the game, for example. So, yeah, they have a different release schedule. The Pokemon are also completely different designs half the time. Or if they are, they're retooled to kind of fit into this new mode where we haven't even talked about the China gameplay mode in quite some time. I've played around with that a little bit too. I've had a ton of fun with it, but that should come to no one's surprise. I have been a diehard believer in the 500-point mode in the China version for quite some time, so I don't think anybody should be shocked by my excitement around it. Yeah, you know what? I'll go on the rant. I messaged, I believe it was Doomsnext when it happened. Because when I made my account on the China version of the game, I'd play through the tutorial or whatever. I think I clicked the wrong button. You actually can click a button to skip the tutorial, which is nice. But I hit the wrong one. But I played through it, and I was enjoying it. And in one of my first non-bot games, I was playing, and we were having a tough time when that 8-minute mark happens and Zapdos spawns onto the battlefield. We lost 2 Zapdoses in a row, but our team, we only had the home goal zone left, of course, but we were able to fend off both Zapdoses, and then we took a Zapdos of our own, pushed it all the way to the home base, and won the game. And I was like, I love this game. I was like, the comeback potential felt so cool, like it was amazing. And then I lost my next game at 6 minutes. We just got Mollywopped and it was
But
over.
that feels like it would be so much more like satisfying
It felt
of
satisfying.
a win than
Mm-hmm.
like the flip, and kind of like what you said afterwards. If you are getting that stomped, they don't even get the chance to
Yes.
make that happen, and then
Mm-hmm.
your misery is ended at 4 minutes or 6 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever it was. So
Yeah.
interesting. I noted. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you are all in on the CN version.
I am. I mean, anything to get me this auto battler in a global release. Honestly, I
Real.
am. But yeah. If we want to talk about the auto battlers like long-term success, if it ever does go global, and if they truly want this game to compete with the likes of like a Team Fight Tactics or something, because let's preface this statement a little bit, actually. I know a lot of people talk about, like, does Pokemon Unite compare to a game like League of Legends or Dota, like these living, breathing games that are MOBAs that have existed for however many years? And the short answer is no. It's competing in a different market, right? We're competing in a mobile MOBA market. It's competing with games like Honor of Kings. It is competing with games like Mobile Legends Bang Bang or Wild Rift, right? That is where that game is trying to demand time and players. It with this auto battler, it sort of sends us in a brand new direction. Like, now it kind of is going to be a slight Teamfight Tactics competitor. Maybe not at the esports level, at least not initially. But the attractiveness for the audience that is into Pokemon and into Teamfight Tactics, I think, is going to be a brand new audience than the audience that was into MOBAs and into Pokemon. Like, I really do think that crossover is going to be really cool and going to be a big success if this does go global and they want to bring more players into it. I think it'd be awesome. I've talked to a couple of other Pokemon commentators that I know are huge TFT heads, and I basically sent them, like, I think it was Slapdop's original video that I watched, like a full gameplay
Oh
video
yeah.
of it, and I was like, it's happening. They did it. And everyone, like, it's exciting. It is a really, really exciting moment for the game, I think. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Big
I
fan.
saw even so we mentioned like obviously our big Unite creators getting it
Mhm.
a try. I've even seen people outside the community figuring out ways in. I didn't really
Cool.
I'm unfamiliar with their game. Munching Orange, I know, made a video about it as well.
Oh, no way.
But
I actually didn't
yeah,
know that. That's cool.
yeah. So I think people forget kind of like what you were talking about, that we are carried pretty heavily by this Pokemon IP,
Mhm.
and obviously it's not a guarantee success, but it does have quite a bit of weight, especially in comparison. Obviously, League has been around for years. The characters have created lives of their own. I mean, Arcane,
Mhm. Yeah.
that ruled. But
Pretty good, yeah.
it's almost kind of similar to like what I've been seeing with Marvel Rivals, where the characters already have a life of their own when they're
Yeah. That's
put
actually a
into the
great
game.
example. Yeah.
So I think it's pretty interesting, just the, I don't know, the difference in
Mhm.
IP, I guess, from the get-go here, and just how that has maybe affected its success thus far, and how it will translate to this auto chess mode setting too. So
Mm,
I don't know,
I
just kind of
agree.
interesting. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And even on top of that, like, I think it's going to be a fun way for Unite to showcase a few special things that I think have made Pokemon Unite successful to a more Pokemon-oriented audience rather than a fan of the gameplay genre, or even, like, if they didn't enjoy the gameplay at all of Unite, is that Unite showcases Pokemon in a bunch of brand new ways that only the anime or maybe Pokken is like kind of come close to. And it's just like
Hmm.
how a Pokemon would battle when you think about it, right? Like the turn-based animations of Pokemon VGC, where they have been getting better, is incredible, but it doesn't really hold a candle to something like, yeah, Wonder Chef's in the chat, of course, like something that Pokken or Unite have been able to accomplish. Like, we have 6 or 7 different Pokemon that know Surf at this point, and they each are unique to the Pokemon, and they feel like how that Pokemon would use Surf in the game.
Yeah.
That's exactly how. Cramorant's kind of this like sniper-based bird Pokemon. It would stand still and try to like like move away of an attack, and Greninja's got his little dash assassinates. Like, it just works. And I don't know, I've always thought of that as one of the best parts. It's why I actually have always been drawn towards the game, because I'm a lifelong Pokemon fan, and I thought it was one of the best ways to represent this universe in a game title. And I think this is gonna show that off in a different kind of way that people will enjoy. So I am excited about it quite a bit, as much as you can tell. So anyway, keep an eye out. We'll probably be talking more about it, because I'm certainly going to be putting more hours into the game. We'll talk more about it. Right now, if you do have your hands on the game, you want to know what's strong, Fairy Comp is really, really good. Fairy Comp is really strong. Water Comp also extremely, extremely good. But honestly, you really can't go wrong with a lot of them, as long as you're, playing well, which I think is really cool. You can get rewarded for just being smart, succeeding, and relying on your fundies, as the fighting community calls it. But okay, I think, any more notes on the auto battler before we move on?
No, I think that was good.
Cool. Yeah. Wow. What a positive Pokemon Unite experience we just shared.
That's why I thought it was a good start.
Oh, man. I don't know if it's a grass is greener kind of situation when I'm looking at a brand new shiny toy over there in China that they only get to play with right now. But either way, I am excited about the future of this game. But about the present of the game, our next topic is going to be, we have a brand new Pokemon added to the game. I think it was at the time of our last podcast, right? No, it was yet to be released, I believe.
It was like the, yeah.
In classic fashion, our podcast is like the day before a big release. But anyway.
Yeah, maybe we need to change the day of the podcast.
Maybe. Galarian Rapidash has been added to the game. We did talk about it, that they had the role change over to Speedster before initial release. So, brand new Speedster added to the game. We got the horse. Bridget, you're the one that has way more playtime on it than I. So, how you feeling about this Pokemon?
The horse, of course. It is so fun. I'm sure I literally said last podcast, I'm not playing this thing. But I'm an ultra man. At this point, it's out of my hands. So I did a little stream to incentivize subs, and I was like, I'll get it if we get the subs. And then we actually did, and I was like, I didn't think we were actually getting the subs. Now I actually have to play this thing. But it was really fun. I mean, it is very simple. It is pretty straightforward. Okay.
I had to bring up this gold. For those of you who are listening on Spotify, check out Big Bridget on Twitter, because this tweet absolutely crushed me. You were in the throes of playing this Pokemon, and you tweeted out, does anyone else say this quote every time Rapidash is on your screen? And of course, it is the Twilight photo. You're impossibly fast and strong. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. I know who you are. It's
not, you're impossibly fast, because you just see it hit agility and it's like sprinting. It was pretty fun.
Bridget, this is your best tweet, I think. We gotta mint this one. Frame it, put it up. It's so funny. I love it so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine. Amazing tweet. But okay, I cut you off mid talking about the Pokemon. You're playing it in Ultra. You're feeling like it can carry some games. Any more thoughts on this new Speedster?
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
Go fast. Try to hit the outside of the donut in your Dazzling Gleam. I haven't played Fairy Winds. I did try both. I think it's Smart Strike and Agility. Honestly, I was playing mostly Smart Strike, because I do kind of like it, because it like shoves them a little bit at when you make contact with them. It's a sure hit, and it puts them in kind of a perfect range for your little Dazzling Gleam donut.
Nice.
But I have realized that agility is broken. So let's play that a little more. And I mean, you go fast and they can't touch you. So it just works a lot. It synergizes a lot better with passive. Becoming unstoppable is obviously incredible. I think the ult is like fine, but I have heard complaints that it is pretty underwhelming.
Really?
So that would be, I guess, like one of the main complaints I've heard about it, that the ult is not great. But I mean, even if you're not doing a lot of damage to them, it's mean look, which I guess it is like an ult mean look, but you have the damage to probably KO whoever you're hitting with your ult. So it does feel like a very like shutdown kind of ult to me. Obviously
Yeah.
not exactly the same as like a Mimikyu Slowbro, but
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I thought on the ultimate before we get into everything else. Personally, I was a little underwhelmed on the ultimate for Galarian Rapidash. To me, if you're playing a speedster and your ult, you're essentially using it just to get away most of the time. That feels a little underwhelming for what the role is trying to accomplish, especially in team fights. Like, if Galarian Rapidash clicks its big button, you oftentimes think you're going for a big knockout. Something like Gengar or Meowscarada or even Dodrio feels like examples of this. They are big initiators that have huge splash damage, but then drawbacks. However, Galarian Rapidash kind of avoiding some of the drawbacks, which we'll talk a little bit more about its mechanics. Maybe we'll talk about it now. So, the whole thing with this Pokemon is that they really tried to go for the flavor of Galarian Rapidash in the mainline games. In its passive, which is what, pastel something? I forget exactly. But anyway, the passive in this game, when your speed meter is full, heard that before in Pokemon Unite, by the way. When it is full, you get a unstoppable trigger onto your Galarian Rapidash, as well as a shield. Once that shield is broken, you lose the trigger, yada yada. It is very easy to get to that full charge frequently, early and often, some would say, which, especially if you're utilizing the agility move, but honestly, if you're using either, it is a very absurd passive. I'm going to pull up the actual ability of Galarian Rapidash.
So I literally just did. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, yeah, tell me, what is the VGC? Or did you pull up the Unite
pull
one?
up Unite DB.
Perfect. Keep that.
Ooh, compare.
And we compare. Yes. So, gotta find their ability. There we go. Pastel Veil. There it is. Okay,
yes.
So Pastel Veil. In battle, Pastel Veil prevents the Pokemon with this ability and its allies from being afflicted by poison. It also heals the poison status condition of allies if a Pokemon with this ability is sent out into battle. So, a cleanse-esque ability that Galarian Rapidash has every time it's on the field and alongside a member of their field. This is very notable in the video games because Galarian Rapidash is a fairy type as well as psychic, so poison damage gets a little nasty sometimes, but you can avoid it. So, or at least avoid the poison effect. Also, it's like thematic with unicorns and healing and whatever. If you're into that lore, I know you're more vampires and werewolves with the Twilight tweet, but if you're into the unicorn lore, also have some healing properties. But anyway, they have, I guess, translated healing poison to fully unstoppable all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is a wild turn of events. Honestly, if that passive was just like, hey, you heal poison, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Venusaur counter, like we needed one.
Gengar counter.
Gengar counter, here we go. Oh my goodness. Or like if they eventually release Muck or something like that. We have a counter already to the Pokemon. But no, they have translated it in a very, I'm going to say, egregious way. But anyway, read out to me what the exact Pokemon passive does in Unite.
So it kind of has like the normal passive, and then I'm just learning it kind of has a crazy interaction with Fairy Wind. So much so that Unite DB had to add it to their frequently asked questions sections to show you all the math that apparently it does with only Fairy Wind.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, didn't know that. So the Pokemon Psychic counter charges based on the distance they run up to 10 times.
Okay.
Which you get I don't know, it's a run like a step, like you get it so fast. When the counter is full.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. That's a wild sentence. I don't know if that's like Unite DB's classification or the game's classification, but like,
yeah,
I will add a bit of context here. Video games have a long history of like insane measurements. Like I was a huge Overwatch fan for a long time. I still am a fan of the game, but like in their patch notes and everything, they refer to all distance as like meters, and it's like it's a digital word. Like how am I supposed to judge like meter?
Like
it's
what do you even mean?
But like
yeah.
I honestly think they should. I think runs is a funny distance, and we should keep it. Honestly, like
yeah, just how they run.
It means nothing, so let's just find a fun way. I think that's hilarious. Keep it.
Yeah. Sidebar.
Yeah.
But When the counter is full, the Pokemon is granted a shield, becoming unstoppable while the shield remains.
Cool.
When the Pokemon reaches an additional movement speed threshold, the damage dealt by moves is increased by 5/20/35/50/60%. I'm
Okay.
assuming how fast you are going.
Yeah. How many
Um,
runs?
Yeah, that only has 2 for, so I guess it's every 2 runs you get
Okay.
a 15% increase in damage.
Mm.
Except the last one's only 10. Sure.
Okay.
And then there's Fairy Wind's damage is instead increased by 5, 100, 200, 230, 250% per additional movement speed threshold. The increased damage based on movement speed is calculated before dealing damage with moves. Please visit the FAQ to learn more.
Oh wow.
And it looks like it's a little bit more of the math on Fairy Wind.
That is. There's a chart. There's a whole chart.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's like this whole other stat called positive effective move speed, which
Learn more about movement speed from this publication. Okay,
Oh,
now
and then there's
all
Google
right,
Docs.
there's more
Oh,
charts.
I can't. Too much math.
All right. Well, classic shout out to the folks over at Unite DB for putting in a serious, tremendous amount of work on getting all the stats and numbers for these Pokemon. Yeah, Galarian Rapidash has some tricky math mechanics working to its favor, clearly, as Pastel Veil, as its passive, honestly seems like the biggest talking point of a Pokemon, which I think we gotta start asking the question, is that a problem? If the thing that we think is the strongest factor about the Pokemon, we're like, oh, it's not this move is broken, or its ult is broken, and we're like, no, or like, its auto attacks, or its boosted auto is crazy. No, instead we're like, no. The thing that makes this Pokemon broken is its Pastel Veil passive.
Hey, I mean, that's how it was with Psyduck, too. I would have definitely argued Psyduck passive was
okay, fair.
probably the most broken thing about it upon release. Dang. Still is pretty strong, I can't even lie to you. So, I don't know what... I mean, Eevee passives have always been pretty bonkers.
Yep.
And then, yeah, you have other Pokemon where it's like, what even is their passive? Like,
yeah, Husky's passive singularity theory is becoming more and more true as this Pokemon releases come out.
I love her.
It honestly is an incredible video, a really, really solid video I said that she made where that is an abundantly true theory. It's like the passives of the Pokemon that have come out on release like Machamp is like, yeah, he gets a bit more defense, but he's got a special condition, and then Rapidash is like unstoppable, 250% damage when I run 10 times. You guess what that means?
Speedster. Like, okay, but with my move that makes me run. Like,
yeah, Map said Gengar's passive is a float stone. It is, and it's out of combat only, just like Floatstone. It is crazy, but okay. Anyway, so we thought we would do a fun thing with the new release. We have not had many recurring segments on Overdunk, so keep an eye out for that potentially in the future, y'all. But one thing we wanted to do to really show off the Galarian Rapidash is we have a report card. We want to give Galarian Rapidash a score on the following things. So, if you, isn't it Infiltrator, Reggie? Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I know that one.
I was like, if anyone's gonna know Gengar's passive, it's the guy in the call.
Oh, that's not Gengar's. That is Dragapult's. Gengar, I think it's just Levitate. But anyway, we'll, what, it doesn't stack up to 10?
I confused.
No, it doesn't stack up to 10 times, it's 5 times. Who knows? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie, I actually don't know. Good call. Okay, so, this is a segment that we want to do. If you're listening in podcast land, I have in front of us a report card for Galarian Rapidash, the Speedster. It is a new release report card. We are going to be judging it on Fun Factor, the power level of the Pokemon. Now, I think, Bridget, we need to debate on what we want to classify this as. Like
yeah, we're setting the standard.
Right, like, are we saying that, like, the more broken it is, the higher grade it gets? Or is this, like, we think this is a good power level for a release? You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, I think, like, are we judging it? Or are we saying it's this strong? I think we do the first one. Like, for example, if it's, like, Giga broken and it wrecked the game, its power level would get a C or a F even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's bad.
Yeah.
balance.
Exactly.
Got it. I agree.
I think that's how we're gonna judge it.
Yeah.
How well Galarian Rapidash fits the flavor or the theme of the Pokemon, how viable we think this Pokemon is in solo queue, how viable we think it is competitively, and then we're gonna give it a out of 5 hundo burgers ranking. Kind of an overall final judgment. So, first and foremost, let's go to the first one. How fun is this Pokemon? And you're the one who's played it a lot more than me, so you're a better judge of it. How fun is Galarian Rapidash?
I actually think she's pretty fun.
Okay.
It's really, I mean, I played my first game in a ranked match.
Dang.
I know. Don't smite me. I'm an ultra. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
So super easy to pick up. Honestly, running around is fun. I make other things explode. I'm not good at junglers. I'm not good at speedsters, and I could get KOs with this thing. I'm probably talking about power level as well, but
no, that incorporates fun. And all fun also incorporates flavor and theme. Like it does. Fun is a lot more generic. And I think as we do these report cards with more Pokemon releases, we're gonna learn more and more that makes no sense. So. Totally fine. We can
honestly, and that was like it was very like unexpected fun for me. Like I was definitely a little nervous. Like like I really didn't think I was gonna have to play this thing.
Okay.
I had no intention of it. So and then having to kind of be like, no, I don't want to say it was forced. I set the goal, but I had a lot of fun. Honestly, I would give it an A. Like, I think it's a good time. I can make horse jokes. I could make Twilight. I made a lot of, it's good.
Jokes are a big part of this for sure, and I'm totally aligned there. Okay, fun level for Galarian Rapidash is going to be rated an A, not an A+, which I think is our highest rating. I think with a report card, we go away from gamer speak. We drop the S. And we keep A+.
No.
A+,
We're in college.
Is the highest. Yeah. We're going for a GPA on these Pokemon releases. That is okay. Someone in chat remind us at the end of this year, at 2025, go back to all the releases that happened this year for Pokemon Unite and take all of the report cards we make and give Pokemon Unite a GPA.
That is so funny.
How do the releases rank throughout the entire year?
We definitely need to like post this, and 100%. I will save it.
We will itemize these and we will keep them. Oh, one other piece of housekeeping before we move on. I said it, I think a few episodes back. I was like, yeah, Spotify has a comment feature. Go use it. If I don't think anybody uses it. I was curious the other day, and I went and looked. There's like 2 or 3 people that have commented on almost all of our episodes on there and have said some of the nicest freaking things. So I am so sorry that I've not seen your comments previously, but shout out to all of you goats. Like I went to the episode like right at the beginning of our big dump when we were catching up, and they were like, yes, Overdunk is back. You guys are so much fun. You really bridged the gap between informative and just a blast to listen to. And I was like, oh my God. I know. I was like, this is the best thing. I can't believe on the podcast I was like, nobody freaking comments here. And yet people were being the kindest in the world. I'm
glad you're issuing a formal apology.
Yeah, I need to. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Okay.
They deserve better.
Back to our report card. The fun level of Galarian Rapidash, a very remarkable A ranking. Very, very good. However, its power level in the game, I would say, is extremely strong. I don't think anybody's out here saying that Galarian Rapidash is feeling too weak to contend with the rest of the roster. Maybe a little bit on the high side, but I don't think this thing is like Miraidon release, strength or anything like that. Like, I don't think it's ending up in the god tiers of a lot of power. Well, maybe it is. On some of these power rankings in the current state of the game.
But
it doesn't feel game breaking to me, which makes me want to go low, but not like F. I don't think we give it a fail. Maybe a C?
I'm aligned.
Okay.
Also, maybe we change this to balance level.
Oh, love that. Great note.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a little more accurate what we're describing.
Yeah.
But I agree. I was thinking like B-, but I think C is I'm down. I think there are like honestly agility alone is a little agility is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, you want to meet in the middle at a C+?
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually yeah.
There we go. Okay. We are going to meet in the middle at C+. I like it. Okay, so balance level down there. You know, it is not the shining light of this Pokemon. It is too strong on really. We are going to see nerfs in this Pokemon. Like, there is no question in my mind. So we are going to see changes to it, I hope, soon. It's not like it has a $50 Hollowware, right? So we should be okay.
No.
It should just be a slap on the wrist. We'll be fine.
And Hollowware I did get is really cute, though. That honestly was a big selling point for me, too. Like, Holloware's cute.
That's true. Oh, Cass just said, who did Rapidash bribe to get a passing grade on balance? That's so funny. I think we've just been hurt way worse before.
Think of the Fs.
Like, think of the Fs. Think of the Fs that we've had. It's scary out there. Also, it's true. We're in a world with draft exists in Master Ranked, you know, which really does change things up. Okay, let's talk about this next one. I think if I am a professor in anything, it is this subject. It is the flavor and theme reward of Pokemon when they're added to Pokemon Unite. I want to give Galarian Rapidash a pretty high ranking. But I don't think I want to give it the highest of rankings. One, I think they messed up the passive in how it works flavor-wise.
True.
They were trying to bridge the world, I think, of making it speed-oriented, but also have like kind of a shout-out to the video game. It feels like they could have done better, so I'm gonna knock off a few points for that. For the moves, I think they feel good on Galarian Rapidash. You know, you want to move fast. You kind of do hit and run style of tactics. That works. But let's be honest, we got another Pokemon that already kind of fits that bill, and in a lot of the ways. And it feels like a challenging spot here. So I'm going to give Galarian Rapidash, man, I thought it was going to be way higher on this Pokemon. When I saw the breakdowns, its Unite move feels a little strange for how I thought this Pokemon would have. I want to give it like a B-.
I'm aligned with that.
Yeah?
Like, it is like, I'm like, this is a horse, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm definitely playing a horse, which is important to me.
Yeah,
but I
helps.
do agree in terms, I like the way it looks. Like, I'm like, the horse is definitely running. That's good.
Yeah.
We love when that happens. But, like, I feel like sometimes when I see Amon in Unite for the first time, I'm gonna take this like a little bit of a different level. Like, I know you're more into like video, like kind of like the video game matching how it is in Unite, but it's like when I'm like, ooh, what moves does Galarian Rapidash have? Honestly, I'm not thinking like agility, smart strike, triangle,
yeah.
Yeah. So its moves I would say are a little like to me.
Yeah.
And as far as like how it looks in game, sometimes I am like, oh my god, this is awesome how it looks in game. And I was just like, as I've previously mentioned, maybe once or twice, like, this is a horse.
This is a horse.
So
Yeah. Triangle, the most iconic Pokemon move.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, it's a big triangle.
It is a triangle. We don't have we don't have triangles, and no one else has a triangle.
You know what's funny is I feel like this is one of the first flavor misses for me in a while.
Honestly,
of Pokemon releases. Like, it feels like, honestly, I think the Speedster transition for this Pokemon is the only thing that brought it up to a B for me.
Ooh, there's no way this was an all-rounder.
How do you not, like, utilize the cool horn of a unicorn in the Unite move or something? Like, let it, like,
it's only like
pin a Pokemon and, like, charge it into a wall or something like that. Like, that'd be cool. Its scoring animation isn't even that good. Like, yeah, we could have done so much better, and that's why you're sitting at a B-. You're lucky you got a blue background, Galarian Rapidash. Okay. Now, here is a category that I think this Pokemon is going to sign it, and maybe our first A+ on Galarian Rapidash. It's solo queue viability. Thoughts on giving it an A+?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm winning games with it,
but I do think, like, power level, of course, it's already hitting that margin, which I do think is an important factor of this category. But secondary, I think even if they nerf this Pokemon, I think it will still be a very fun Pokemon to pick up in solo queue. It doesn't feel too debilitating no matter where you put it. You play it in Central, it's great. You can probably still play it in lane and feel okay. The unstoppable mechanic of it feels like you'll always have, like, chances to kind of bring the game back into your favor, as well as a get out of jail free tool, which is awesome for a solo queue chance. I think this is one of the best solo queue mons they have made in quite some time. So big success for Galarian Rapidash and its solo queue viability. Now, here is a question that I think is going to be actually really interesting. Where do we put in its competitive viability?
This is so hard.
This is so
probably the hardest
hard.
one.
So, because we're kind of playing Nostradamus here, right? We have no tournaments being played with Galarian Rapidash equal yet. This is going to be tough. Obviously, its ranked win rate's going to be huge. We're seeing a lot of just like competitive players just put a Comfey on this thing and rock it. But okay, let me ask you this: if you were drafting a team that was going to play a Comfey plus carry composition, would you consider Galarian Rapidash over something like a Zoroark or maybe even like a Blue Shifu at the given time, or an Aegislash or something? These are all kind of filling different roles. I'm not doing a great job of describing where I'm going with this, but maybe Zoroark is the big challenge here for it. Would you ever pick Galarian Rapidash over something like that?
Yeah, I actually thought Ag was probably a good. Well, I guess he's unstopped, but can you even like knock him with your sword? You know?
Yeah.
So that's tough. I feel like you almost need a guy with a shutdown to stop him. Truly.
Yeah.
Man, this is tough.
I'm
definitely not a good mind reader for the draft lines. I would say it's like a later draft pick.
Oh, for sure. You can't pick this thing early. I feel like there's too many just hard shutdowns to it, right? Like any kind of slowing effect. I feel like a coordinated team is going to pop the Unstoppable Shield so extremely fast. I see people mentioning that like it's really flexible in draft or something. I actually don't know if I would agree with that. At the power level it's at now, I would agree, but I just think design-wise, I'm not too sure long term, but I mean, I think maybe we need to give it more the benefit of the doubt here. Like,
I agree.
Maybe a B?
I was thinking a B.
A B? I mean, it's still a speedster that has a broken passive. So I feel like that alone will get some players to become really familiar and strong with it. But Meowscarada is a speedster with a broken passive. And while I think it's strong, it sees such few actual attempts at playing. So personally, that's where I think that would end up, but that's all right. Let's give this thing a B rating in competitive viability. We might get cooked for that one. I don't know, but I think that's where we'll land on for now.
Well, then we'll start really. It's bait. It's dialogue starters.
There you go. Okay, the social grind. All
yeah.
right.
So in the YouTube comments, you can tell us how right or wrong we are.
All right. So Galarian Rapidash on a absolute wild report card rating. Just to recap for everybody, especially those who aren't watching this visually, recap for the report card Galarian Rapidash. A on fun, a C+ on its balance level, a B- on its flavor/theme, A+ in its solo queue viability, and a straight B in its competitive viability. Middle of the road, but a couple of stats bringing it pretty high. It does not.
I literally thought the same thing, Smem.
It almost does.
The horse would actually not be a cop.
That's true. Yeah. Not one of the Central Park ones. Okay. Hundo Burger level. How many Hundo Burgers are we giving this thing?
Do you have our Hundo Burger GIF or emotes ready to input here?
I have 5.
That's perfect.
Yes.
That's exactly what I wanted it to be.
Okay, good.
I would give it 4. Is 4 Hundo Burgers too many Hundo Burgers?
Whoa, that's high. I was gonna give it 3. I'm
aligned with 3. Okay. I'm aligned with 3.
Horse is definitely a criminal. I think Galarian Rapidash is gonna get 3 Hundo Burger level. People asking, what does this category mean? Yeah, you're asking the wrong folks, everybody.
No, it's how many burgers it deserves.
Exactly. Okay, there it is. Wow, that is the most time we have spent on a new Pokemon release in so long.
That was really fun, though. That was a fun way to break it down.
Fun. Yeah, chat, don't worry. Next release, which will be, who knows?
Yeah, we don't know what our next release is.
Yeah, for the first time in a minute, I feel like we'll be doing report cards. So reminder, keep us honest. I want to get a GPA. Hundo Burger category might have to be removed for the sake of the GPA. But yeah, we'll talk more about
translates.
It
translates.
Exactly. Okay, so we have a little bit more time here in the podcast. Let's I just had like a bunch of Discord messages and I was like, oh, it's okay. It's just Summer telling me where to buy Game Boy Advance SP parts. And we're good.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay, let's talk about one thing that happened over the last weekend, and we've been talking a lot about for us the last few episodes, is the Asia Champions League is starting to reach its conclusion, starting with SEA and India both completing their playoffs this weekend. There was a co-stream on my channel with Bridget Wonderchef and Doob Snacks where we watched a little bit of SEA, and then India happened on the Sunday, so immediately the day after, and both were actually crazy from a storyline perspective. So let me pull up the brackets on screen if I can here. So we'll start with SEA. So the SEA teams going into this tournament, Barium United, Barium, I think I've said it once correctly in my entire life, and every other time it's been wrong. But anyway, Barium United, first seed, Miran Sejong, last seed, 8th seed. Paper X versus Blacklist, Onyx versus Alter Ego, and Talon versus Evos Onyx started the day. These might be of new names to a few of those who've only seen some of the Asian teams at the World Championships. A lot of these teams you do know, they just are going under a brand new team. For example, Barium United is the team Cakelock from Worlds, where I believe it was Blacklist is Isam Ayumento, for example.
Yes.
Or in my particular happy spot, Miran Sejong is Zora Tigers Gaming. So that is where I think we need to talk about it. This tournament was a top 8 double elimination bracket where the top 4 teams qualified to the in-person invitational for the finals of the Asia Champions League in Japan, in Shinjuku, I believe. Miran Sejong from 8th seed went on a tear, beating Barium United in their first game, the first seed of the tournament, by the way, from 8th seed, going on to beat Paperex 2-0, losing to Alter Ego 2-1 in the upper bracket final, getting the run back against Barium United in a 2-0 win, and then beating Alter Ego back-to-back in grand finals games 2-1 to 2-0. An absolute miracle run from the only Korean squad in the Asian Champions League, and they go from last seed to winning the whole darn thing and winning the majority of the $50,000 prize pool for this tournament. Absolute hero run from the guys.
Literally, I mean, we put on the bingo board, ooh, an upset one game, and then they just upset everything from the last seed, right?
Yeah, literal last seed.
I'm now I feel like I need to go back and analyze what happened, because a lot of people kind of write off Korea in ACL because of ping. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, oh, their ping is horrible,
right,
they kind of have no shots, it's just a little location diff, but I don't know. They planned around it. Obviously, we watched, did we watch both of the, I want to call them Zora Tigers Gaming, but
Miran
Sejong, yeah, that's what I thought. And man, they were on a tear.
They were.
The Espion was espioning.
Oh my word.
Very hard.
Yeah, Espion was sick. I'm going to go to the overview so we can pull up the rosters, because I really do think this team is a team that we need to be watching for a long time. All right, it looks terrible on screen because I've zoomed in so weird, but you can see on the far left-hand side of your screen.
They can see,
yeah. Spirits, Chobo, Ward, Subin, and Zhang. Spirits, it did play the World Championships. They just changed their name. I believe they were playing by Mule for the last few years.
That's Mule, I believe.
Mule has changed their name. Also, Subin, I believe, was the Espion, right? Or was
I think so.
Or was
I think
it
that's
Spirits?
their...
Oh, I don't even remember at this point in time. I think it was Subin.
I'm pretty sure Subin's their attacker.
Subin leveled up. Ward stays being one of the best defenders in the entire world. And holy cow, I got a chance to watch a few of the later matches just the following day. I was just picking them up on my phone. Zhang somehow got even better since Worlds. Like, Zhang was crazy this tournament. So much fun to watch. I really think one of the reasons that they went so far in the tournament is on the back of their central area Zhang play. Like, he was wild, playing a lot of really cool stuff. Mainly the Saraledge or the Urshifu were the two real standouts for them. But the Saraledge gameplay in particular was amazing. So Mirror and Zhejiang going on an absolute heater of a run. Obviously, Alter Ego, the other team to meet them in the grand finals, also came into this tournament with a pretty low seed. You wouldn't expect that, knowing a lot of the players in this team. This is like Xingdi, Ice, that whole team. They're all incredible and have proven themselves tournament after tournament. They went into this one with a pretty low seed, but they went up against Onyx first round, 2-0'd them. Went up against Talon second round, 2-0'd them, and then won their first bout against Mirror and Zhejiang 2-1. So Alter Ego finishing second place in this tournament, but putting themselves kind of back on the map, in my mind, for Asia Champions League talk for the finals in Japan. Like, all of a sudden, Alter Ego is like, no, remember who we are. Like, we are one of the best teams in the world. Like, watch out. This Paper X team might be fun. They might be playing 5 defenders, but hey, they finished 4th and inched into this tournament. But
yeah, it's kind of wild, like, I know we keep talking about, like, the lower seeds, like, kind of, like, taking control of this tournament, but venturing off slightly from Alter Ego, but just in comparison, like, Burium United, I believe that's how you say it,
you nailed it.
is, thank you. Let's take a look, who even going into Worlds was, like, I mean, what did you rate them, Zoinks? They were probably one of your biggest, like, variants from what we kind of...
They took one look at my whiteboard and took that personally. They
yeah, that was a spiteful run to you specifically.
They flipped Ray all the way up past my whiteboard. It was crazy.
Yeah, they even flipped your whiteboard. That's crazy. So when going from a team that was like so, you know, probably underestimated, especially by the West, because really all we knew about them was that they won one of the, I feel like it was APAC East or West Opens. Yeah. So make this crazy Worlds run, get into ACL with all these teams who I feel like a lot of people would still say are better than them, and pretty much held the #1 seed.
Yeah.
This entire ACL season. Like,
yeah, you may remember me criticizing them. You may remember me criticizing them earlier on in the ACL season, because I was like, yeah, they're ranked first, but look at their strength of schedule. They haven't had to play great teams yet. Yada, yada. I absolutely wasted my breath because Buriram hold on to that first place seed and go on a great run. I mean, when the only team you lose to is the champion and you lose to them twice, like, you got to start asking the question, like, if Buriram versus Alter Ego play, who's walking away from that one, right? Because they never got the chance. So Buriram shaking their fist at Mirror and Zhejiang for sure. They were, I think, Buriram could have had a chance at grand finals if Mirror and Zhejiang were able to win the winner's side. But either way, crazy run for them. Let's talk about the not so nice or positive runs that happened in this tournament. Also, Paper X did make it into the tournament. 2-1 loss to Buriram, but still a good showing. Two teams that I think a lot of people would have expected to be making it to the top 4, Talon and Onyx, both come just short of qualifying via this tournament. So Talon loses 2-0 to Buriram in Buriram's third match of the day, same with Talon. As Talon had won their first round matchup, which is a little bit different than Onyx's story, right? So Talon beat Evos Onyx 2-0, but then go on to lose to Alter Ego 2-0, and then back-to-back lose to Buriram 2-0. So Talon having just a terrible turn of events after the first game. And then Onyx losing against Alter Ego 2-0. To start, Evos Onyx, they are able to defeat 2-0, but then lose to Paper X 2-0. So, I mean, Onyx and Talon, two huge names, not making the Asia Champions League finals yet. We'll put an asterisk there because there's one more opportunity. There is a winter tournament for both APAC East and West, and I'm pretty sure that these teams compete in 2 different regions. I'm like 90% sure that Talon competes in West and Onyx in East, or vice versa. That might actually be swapped the other way, but I do believe they have one more chance. But either way, crazy turn of events. Thoughts on Onyx and Talon not making it into the top 8?
Right. So whenever there is kind of like the underdog that makes it through, there's
Right.
obviously a big dog that does not. So I know Talon can be a little like I feel like they have a lot of like fans. Like a lot of people really believe in Talon,
Mhm.
but I feel like they can kind of be like it's either their day or it's not their day.
Worlds was their day.
Which
I think
yeah.
we got to give them that credit for sure.
Oh, I mean, kind of interesting like on like the other end of like Kakalak, Zora, a la Worlds, like
Mhm.
these two teams did phenom at Worlds as well, but like weren't able to like turn it out like on this day. So I think it was just maybe like, you know, Bariram and Miran like had their number. Like they just like maybe like the higher seeds came in like a little too confident, whereas like these underdog teams were like hungrier for this, like to prove themselves. Like it's the last week of ACL, like we gotta lock in if like no other time but now, because up until now it was just seeding for basically this. So
well, yeah,
if there were
almost
ever a
right. There's two
time-
teams
well,
that
yeah,
didn't make it, but yes,
right.
for the most part.
Sorry,
seeding.
asterisk.
Well, kind of,
Yeah.
because Mirren Sejong had the same match record as Full Sense, who came in 9th. But the map record was so egregiously different. You can see it on screen right now. They had a -3 map differential for Mirren Sejong. Full Sense had a -8. So Full Sense, same match record as Mirren Sejong, but not many close matches, where Mirren Sejong were at least able to force a lot of games to game 3 and catch up a little bit in that regard. So every map mattering in the ACL in extreme ways.
I don't want to say the whole season didn't matter or they weren't taking it seriously, because I'm sure they all were, but this was like
the big deal.
Their last shot, for this kind of, I don't even know if you would say this is an easier route into ACL. This is like pretty insane. So
true.
Good for them, but I think it was maybe a little bit of that going into it.
Totally. Yeah, I don't know. My eyes are going to be on Mirren Sejong and Alter Ego. Definitely. Bariram as well. I mean, top 3 finish in one of the most tough regions that we have seen, honestly, historically in Pokemon Unite, right? SEA has always been a crazy good team. I think, like, we used to be like, APAC East is a little bit stronger than APAC West. I feel like that's kind of gone and done for now. It just feels like both are extremely strong at any given moment. You got to watch out for APAC. They look amazing this year. So excited to see what they're able to accomplish in Asia Champions League. Not going to lie, a little bit disappointed on Paper X. Like, I feel like, but them being able to 2-0 Onyx is also huge. Like, I respect Onyx so much. So obviously, maybe I'm taking a little bit too much away from Paper X. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the Winter Qualifier. I'm not going to lie, I would be shocked if it wasn't Talon and Onyx, respectively, for either one of those opens making it there. And I kind of hope they do, because Revenge Run at the big LAN would be sick. So,
yes, the in-person.
Exactly. They're like, we didn't make it through our league.
The storyline is so good.
Oh, would be wonderful. Okay, let's get to another tournament whose storyline was also insane. And don't worry, everybody, there will be a watch party angle coming up for this eventually.
I would be down.
We have to at this point. Like, it's too ridiculous to not. I'll scroll over here so we can see the start of it on screen. Let's explain. Some people might not know the format for India and how they do some of their Asia Champions League qualifiers, and how they've also done their Worlds qualifiers in the past. Because TPC regions, or the Pokemon Company regions, basically the Eastern regions, have kind of done their own thing and done their own thing in each region. That does not change in Asia Champions League. Basically, you play the entire tournament, and they create a true ladder for their playoffs. If you are the 8th and 7th seed, you play in round 1. But if you are the 6th seed, you wait for that winner, and so on and so forth, to all the way to the end of the tournament. The first place out of the group stage sits at the very end, and they only need to win 1 match to win the tournament, because they play whoever climbs the ladder at the top. A really intense format. It's cutthroat.
Yes.
It's exciting. It really is. But it's also done out of necessity, kind of. You could do it to qualify more than one team, but India also only gets 1 seed out of this, I believe, qualified for Asia Champions Land, which is what? I think they might have won Open as well to qualify one other team, but
you just said Asia Champions Land, and that sounds delightful.
Yeah, it does. That's
like a
where you
theme
that's where you
park.
go when you win. It's Unite
Yeah.
Valhalla. You're able to go enjoy it. It's awesome. But
Oh,
okay.
beautiful.
Anyway, let's set the stage. Godlike Gaming are 7th seed in this tournament, which means they have to compete in the first round. They're going up against Marcos Gaming, who is last seed in the tournament. Didn't have a great group stage. They're feeling confident. They win that thing. Then they go up against True Rippers, a terrifying name
Yeah,
in
don't
this
like
game.
that. Don't
Terrifying
like
name.
that.
But Godlike, not deterred, they win 2-1. True Rippers, also a few notable players from India, like I think that are known worldwide, do play on that roster. So a very formidable roster. Godlike will take them down 2-1. Then they go on to God's Reign. So a battle of deities in round 3.
Wow.
Godlike,
Truly Valhalla.
truly Valhalla. They win again. 2-1. And this is going to get repetitive. They beat Reckoning in round 4. They beat ACL in the quarterfinals. They go on to play Global Esports and beat them 2-1. And then they play Revenant in the grand finals and they 2-1 them. Godlike Esports from 7th seed go on a 7-round tournament run, defeat everybody in the region and qualify for the land. Like, what on earth is this region?
I need to know, like, what was your, like, mental, like, going into this? And then
gosh.
what was happening while this was, like, I wish I could interview them because literally this has to just feel like insane. Like, I can't even imagine the feelings that go along with, like, prepping for this kind of thing, knowing that you're gonna, like, you're like, oh, you know, we'll try our best. It'll be a long day. Like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then it's happening and you're probably like, we could do it. Like,
Uh-huh.
and then, I cannot imagine the roller coaster of this. And the way that, other than round 1, every other round goes to game 3. Like, it's not like they were, like, to me, this tells me it's not like they were rolling them or maybe even, like, if they had a plan going into each of these teams and it was always going according to plan, like, it feels like they were adapting.
Yeah.
And
There's
obviously,
no way
like,
you could have a plan for the entirety of your region, right? Like, there's no
Right.
way. Yeah, we prep for all 8 teams diligently. Like, there's.
yeah, we
I mean, if they
knew.
did, they are
Yeah.
the biggest of brains that we have ever seen. I think that is crazy. I want to get interviews with Godlike Esports. We need to hear what those players are going through.
It would be
Also,
amazing.
the story of these teams along the way has got to be so funny. Like, True Rippers are like, okay, we're preparing for Godlike. It's going to be a close game. They go into it. God's Reign is like, dang, Godlike won 2 matches in a row. That's okay. We can still take them. We're God's Reign, not Godlike. We reign. We'll take them down. We'll beat them. Reckoning at this point, they're preparing for God's Reign. And they're like, what? Godlike keeps winning? That's crazy. Okay. ACL,
Yeah.
no shot. ACL has been preparing for Godlike Esports, okay? They are
True.
preparing for anybody else. Like, what? We have to play them? Global's like... And then Global and Revenant at the end are like, there's no way on earth we can win. Like, this team's beating everybody. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and it's interesting because they get, like, these later teams are watching Godlight's, like, strats, their drafts.
Mhm.
They're probably watching every single game. Like, they are getting so much information on how they are playing that day.
Yeah.
And Godlike has none. They have no idea what they're walking into. They don't know if they're doing hot, what they were prepping, what they're thinking. Like, they're
It's
literally
nuts.
walking into each match blind while every other team is getting so much information on them, like, at least for that day.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy the more I think about it.
All right, chat, I'm pulling it up. This is an insane clip.
Oh, I saw this.
You can't see it exactly from how we have the perspective. Maybe I can. You know what? It might be worth just to make it work.
Maybe you just zoom out, like, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. There we go. Now we have the full screen. This is from Chris Hero's stream. Chris Heroes was doing a live watch party of this tournament. This is the semifinals, I believe. Yeah, this is Global Esports
Playoffs.
versus Godlike.
Six,
Semifinals
yeah.
of playoffs. They are 1-1. There's 18 seconds left on the clock. The score is 150 to 215. Global is behind, but barely, and there are 3 members of both teams knocked out. It is Zarina versus Maridon. Zarina needs to win 1-1v1, and they're currently ulting their target, and they have an open goal
Oh my
zone
god, he
to
scored
score on.
40 more points.
This is
Serena can
crazy.
score, Serena can score. Serena can score. No one is there anymore. Serena can do it.
40 points will win. He goes for more points.
Wait.
So, I mean, they don't know. Obviously, they
No.
don't know. But he
No.
starts to dunk, could have gotten the initial dunk off. Sees all the money around.
what? I just-
Gives him a little more money. He has
Oh.
9 seconds. Surely nothing bad happens. And then before he's able to get it in, the Zacian on the opposing team stops the dunk,
Oh.
stocks their dub, and Godlike puts an end to another run. You know the meme of like the Grim Reaper going in all the doors? That was them.
Oh. Like the power of God and anime was on their side. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Like Chris's caption on that tweet when he posts the videos, bro will be thinking about this moment for the rest of his life. Like that is,
Yeah.
you are one like score away from going on, and the clock counting down is a factor, the amount of points they're scoring is a factor. One of the closest photo finishes, and Zasha just full tilt runs in with ult and cancels the score. Like wild stuff in this tournament, things that like maybe we'll never see again, like that kind of history.
That's crazy.
That was played out on stage, or not on stage, I guess, on screen, online tournament, unfortunately. But either way, crazy,
oh my God,
crazy,
can you
crazy,
imagine
crazy.
that in person? The energy of that in person would need to be bottled and sold.
I
Like,
don't
that is
care
crazy.
I don't care who you cheer for. The room would deflate. It'd be like,
Oh my
no.
God.
the only people celebrating with the 5 players on the other side of the stage, right? They'd be
Yeah.
losing their collective minds. Everybody else would be like, no,
I would just be
went back. He
impressed.
stopped scoring. Like that would be the
I
entire
feel like
consensus.
he would know he made a mistake
Oh, yeah.
as soon as the audience would be like, no! Like, I feel like he would even
yeah,
be
as soon as he
influenced.
stops the score animation, and then the whole crowd, no.
Yeah, you would know even faster how bad
Crazy.
that was.
Oh man. Well,
Wow.
either way, insane conclusion to the India iteration of the Asia Champions League group stage in their playoffs. So that will be Godlike Esports traveling to go compete at the Asia Champions League finals in Japan. If you've been paying attention to seasons past, India is a region you want to be watching at that tournament. True Gravity last year went all the way to silver medal at the final there. So definitely
They
a region.
owned.
So it was so crazy cool. I feel like that was by far the biggest success that region has had. Obviously, they haven't had as many chances as other regions due to constant visa issues and things like that for multiple areas of the world, which is a huge bummer. So I hope things are corrected, especially as we go into the the season where we start qualifying for Worlds and stuff rather soon. So hope that could change. But anyway, awesome stuff from the Asia Champions League. This is going to be one of our longest episodes yet, for sure.
I know. I can't. I literally woke up and I was like, well, time to talk.
Yeah, this is great. Anyway, we have talked so much about Galarian Rapidash, the auto battler in the Chinese version of the game, and now the conclusion of 2 regions of Asia Champions League 2025. Final thing we got to be talking about is the rest of the World Championship Series is going to be kicking off. February Cup is about to go down, and of course, OC, EU, NA, LATAM, both North and South, and Brazil.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome. I felt like January Cup was actually a really, really fun tournament. Those tournaments right after the like holiday break and stuff like that are always a bit of a coin flip. Like, who knows how much people are actually putting in times to practice and things like that. But there's a lot of really big tournaments on the horizon. EUIC, notably, going to be the largest one for a lot of these teams. But otherwise, the final stretch qualifiers to play and earn a spot for NAIC is also coming up very soon. So there are a lot of huge tournaments coming up. So definitely some big events to keep your eye on. February Cup is going to be no exception. Now, we do a lot of coverage on the teams, but again, we've been talking a lot on this episode, so I don't know how much we'll actually discuss about teams to be watching or anything like that. EU has had some notable things go down in that region competitively, for sure. We got the Inder tweet with the plane ride over there. Inder is headed there. I think that means they will not be playing in this tournament coming up this weekend. However, future tournaments, I think EUIC might be their debut on that roster. But a few other big changes, I believe Sarayu being added onto Gen 5 for this tournament.
Yeah.
So Sarayu obviously will a part of that trade, I guess, I'm calling it a trade offer. But a part of that exchange, Soryu leaving the team of Now's Esports, found a new home in the basically all French squad of Gen 5. Feels like just a natural fit there for a few reasons. That is going to be it feels like a really, really strong ad. Obviously, we all know the strength of Soryu. Maybe they struggled in a couple of tournaments in recent history, but either way, that feels like a squad that can really make some damage happen. That's going to be awesome. So, I mean, if there was any roster change that I felt would make a little bit of a shakeup happen at EU, because let's face it, it's been kind of the Nouns show for quite some time, that might be it. Yeah. Other than that, any more thoughts on EU, Bridget?
Yeah, I think just going off of the Gen 5 roster swap, obviously Gen 5 was getting second place in the earlier tournament, AOS Cup qualifier, December Cup, and then tragic, fell to fourth. I know, big fall.
Oh no.
In January Cup, so I think shaking up at this point, kind of like what you were saying, we're getting it into more of like the nitty gritty. EUIC is, I mean, will be the next tourney after January or February Cup, correct?
Yes, this upcoming tournament is called February Cup.
Yes,
believe.
and then EUIC is after.
Yeah,
right?
and then almost immediately after are the final stretch play-ins. Like it is a mad dash. Oh, wait, no, there's a different monthly before that even. I think
March.
Yeah, I think March Cup happens before, but March Cup and final stretch play-ins are very close together, I believe.
Yes.
So it will be there is we are entering the busy season of Pokémon UNITE Championship. Like, competitive Pokémon UNITE is entering the busy season, which is insane to say because the Asia Champions League has been going on and everything, but now the East and the West are both going to be colliding at the same time in terms of rapid pace. Not to mention the UIC is going to have the two Chinese teams being invited to the tournament, as well as the Asia Champions League.
My gosh, I can't wait to see how
so fun
China competes. And yeah, we're basically getting into we're gonna start seeing the first people qualify for Worlds from ACL and EUIC.
Yeah, so yeah, UIC will be the first one, definitively, and then Asia Champions League right after. So we'll two out of the however many slots there is going to be this year at the World Championships.
Which is
crazy. Okay, really quick, oh dang. That's awesome. Also, shout out to Jay for coming into the chat. First time chat, immediate follow, and coming in to say peak viewership of 9,000 in India. That's dope. Love the mic drop energy from you, but also so dope to see that India is getting so much love on the broadcast, because I mean, what a legendary story to have in front of 9,000 people. Like, what a cool run.
Dude.
Some great Pokemon Unite played there too, so that's really cool. But
we need India at Worlds. Oh my gosh, please.
It'd be heartbreaking.
I need them.
We need them there for sure.
I know.
And this is coming from a person who has consistently ranked them rather low in power rankings and strength overall. I am the one being like, please give them their shot. They need their shot.
It's just so hard to.
Yeah. Right. We don't have as much chance to see them in international settings, but Asia Champions League last year, Asia Champions League this year, and hopefully more tournaments to come after that. Okay. North America, I don't think we probably have seen some roster changes. I'm just not as privy to them when they happen in North America. Feels like they're a little bit less on Twitter these days, and more so in Discords that I'm not in as much anymore. But one, I do believe Rex is back.
He said that in our chat.
Yeah,
so that's why we know about that.
Yeah, I believe Rex is gaming on Nemesis again. So, you know, the gang's all back together, which is pretty cool. Minus Trainer, I guess. But he's on to a different team. But it is what it is.
He's still playing.
Exactly.
We take those
from the community. So, definitely going to be here. It was a Unite Mike's exclusive scoop. That's right. And one that we've already shared. We're just going to double dip. We're going to use it twice.
We gotta.
Yeah.
If you got it, flaunt it, you know?
True. But okay, we did a lot of patch talk last time, Bridget, but we've had a little bit of a chance to play with these Pokemon, but more, see some community tournaments, things like that. Any Pokemon that you think are going to make a big uprise or a big swing here at February Cup in terms of usage, win rate, however you want to define it?
Ooh, man. I don't feel like there's been much change in terms of our support. I think Psyduck and Blissey are primo,
busted.
if not Bano. So not too much there. I do think Cerulege, Urshifu. I'm definitely being pretty influenced by ACL, so
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how influenced
Mhm.
other regions are influenced by them as well. Attacker role is kind of in shambles. I can't lie to you.
Maridon or bust. Like at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean that Espeon got me hyped, but part of me was like, was that like a ping choice? Like, I mean, we were playing Psybeam, but I feel like for the most part. So I am just curious to see if anyone gets a little more creative there, and by creative I mean just not running the attacker probably.
Right. Yeah, we might see more all-rounders in the bottom path. I feel like Espeon, Pikachu, and Teleon are also viable options. Maybe less Pikachu, maybe more on the other two. A9 is another one that I think gets thrown into that conversation as well. Honestly, by me a lot. I really like that Pokemon.
Some moments.
And I like it. I like what it brings to the table competitively, but it feels like the success is not there to back it up. So I think the numbers are not supporting A9 more than anything. Like I feel like it's passing the vibe check, but it is not passing the reality check, which is an unfortunate one to be failing on. Would not be doing well in the report card right now.
We need to do more report cards.
Kello, yeah, more report card content incoming. Kello did put in our chat, need more Aegislash. I agree. I think we're gonna see more Aegislash for sure.
I think so too.
I think EU and NA are probably the two best regions to be watching. Not in terms of like, well, maybe they have the best sword players. I actually don't know, but I think in terms of amount of Aegislash we'll see. I feel like those two regions really do like to bring that Pokemon out. NA in more of an invasion style of the sword. We do love, sometimes strapping a float stone to that thing and going into the enemy central area.
Yeah, run in there, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we'll see it there. Quick off the hit prediction: who's gonna win EU?
I mean,
safe money or
hasn't been losing.
Okay.
So, and I saw Swim in chat say Ender is going to be playing in February Cup. I don't know the logistics or the rules there, so that is potentially going to be
cool.
A shakeup. Along with obviously Soraya going to Gen 5. I feel like for me, it's kind of between those two, but I will stick with Nouns. I mean,
okay. Hey, I'll be the fun one. I'm gonna gamble a bit. I'm going with honeymoon phase Gen 5. There is something in esports in general, but Unite has also seen it. Brand new rosters and brand new one-player change, but brand new rosters sometimes can make some stuff happen. So I'm predicting a little bit with my heart here. Safe money is always gonna be with Nouns, and I guess they're doing the same thing if Ender is playing this tournament, right? So, man.
True.
That match is going to be
Lots
awesome.
of honeymoons.
That match is going to be awesome. Gen 5 versus Nouns is going to be the highlight game of EUIC, of the European version of this tournament for sure. All right, how about North America? I can go first this time. You got to go first last time. I'm going with Orange Juicers. I think Orange Juicers is going to take it. I think a lot of the players are hitting their strides in really, really sick ways at the moment. Whereas I do think Luminosity Gaming is doing similar stuff out there. And when the new meta, not changing too much, they might be able to explore a bit, but I don't know. There's certain things. Roland, he's playing some of the best Unite of their life right now.
I know.
I don't know. It just feels like an Orange Juicers W to me in this tournament. But Rex rejoining Nemesis, maybe they got a shot at it too. I don't know. There's a lot of room to move in NA, especially in the big three. Which is kind of cool because I feel like we kind of had the same big three last year too, which is kind of fun that it's like staying the same, which I love. So yeah. Three team region plus YouTube. I feel like there's a couple of teams you could add to the plus, by the way. We've all been waiting for T3 to have their success. They've been top 6
on the cusp
in so many tournaments because they keep winning out their qualifier, but just can't really make it happen in day 2, which is unfortunate. Eventually, they're going to break that barrier, right? Like, we all think that that's going to happen. So, another team to gamble on. Kiss Kiss has been looking really, really good if they don't surrender. During the game. So, hey, Kiss Kiss really hoping for the China version, really hoping that the game will just end.
Auto surrender.
But I'm joking, but they are a great team. Like they are playing amazing Unite. They have some of the most like off the beaten path drafts that also are good.
Easily.
yeah, like this is a team that could win a tournament that hasn't yet. So don't sleep on that team at all, please.
Yes, just kiss. I am gonna go with LG. I
Okay,
feel
run
like
it back.
they're feeling hot. I see Slash on his YouTube grind.
He
He's
is.
streaming a bunch, which I honestly love. I feel like Overlord is literally streaming right now. Not saying like content creation is indicative of their strength, but
But when
from,
LG's playing the game, they feel like one of the best people in the game. Like that is that is the
yes,
definition.
and I feel like it
sometimes.
just makes the game and the community better when we have like our pro players like contributing to the community. I mean, I know streaming
100%.
maybe isn't like the most groundbreaking thing, but to me, I just kind of like appreciate when they're using their platforms because
Totally.
they have like fans, like they are big, and I
Oh.
like seeing them like own it.
I am so glad you brought that up. Something I think is awesome. Nouns Esports is doing an official meet and greet at
We didn't
EUIC,
see that.
which I think is really, really, really cool. Which is awesome. Like, there's a lot of fans of Nouns Esports. All of the EU attendance, oftentimes, is Nouns
me.
Esports fans, right? Yeah, of course, people abroad as well. This is a really cool thing. Like, it feels like we're treating the game a little more seriously. You don't have to just stop them in the hallway at the giant convention center and excel. And, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody would be upset if you're doing it like kindly and you're not being like not obnoxious or whatever. Just being respectful.
Just be
blah,
cool.
blah, blah.
Be cool.
Yeah. If you're being cool, everything is fine. But it's really cool. There's like an official meet and greet now. I don't know. I have been.
It is.
I feel like this has been the year of me just like shouting praises to Nouns Esports as an organization for supporting our game for so long. But I'm being honest about it. I really am so happy with what they've been doing, and a meet and greet I think is a really cool addition to that at EUIC. So awesome. That's really cool to hear. And if you're going to EUIC, consider checking that out.
Yeah,
Get some of your stuff signed. I think there's giveaways and stuff too. I'm not too sure. You probably get some noggles, which are cool.
And it's just like someone like me, like I'm a little more like confident and like walking up to people now. But the first time I went to NIC, you could not catch me talking to a player. I was so like shy and like embarrassed and like didn't know what to do. So I like that they're kind of giving like those like where I was at that point. Like I would have gone to a meet and greet. You know what I mean? Because it kind of like breaks like the barrier. Like it gives you like a reason. I don't know. I just kind of like that from almost like a selfish reason. So
it takes away the first barrier, which is always like, well, I don't want to inconvenience them. Like that's always going to be the first one there. And it's like, you're not. They're actually excited to meet you. There's some characters on that team that are always excited to meet you no matter what. Like I'm looking at Gatlu.
Saying anyone would have been rude to me or like
Gatlu and Adesu are two of the most
nice.
Gatlu and Adesu are two of the most like infectious, like heartwarming personalities that you see. Just like they're very, very, I don't know if they're actually extroverted, like if that's where they get there, but when they're at events, they definitely have a vibe that's like, hey, how's it going? Like, great to meet you and everything. But it's awesome that it's there. I'm probably going to go. I'm going to force Blaine to take a photo with me. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a fun way to like support that. Like it's
also,
kind of
Ender's going to be there too. So, and I'm sure there's a ton of Ender fans who are going to be there, right?
It'll be like his first time like wearing the Nouns jersey. That's exciting.
Exactly.
Honestly, that's so cool. So I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the EUIC goers. I can't wait to see all the pics.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really, really cool. There's other awesome events happening at EUIC as well. Engage has been putting on some really cool promotion. They've been really trying to lean into Europe and try to support it more as a region for Pokemon Unite and as an organization. They're doing this whole like boot camp thing that you can like get involved in if you're a competitive team. You can check out. They have a few different things rolling out on socials right now that you can support or even just like tune in to help and check out that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, Engage GG on Twitter and X and all that kind of stuff, you can check it out. So that'd be really cool. But okay, Bridget, I think we got to close up shop. We've been going for quite a while.
I know.
Long episode today,
we talked about EU. I hope everyone is happy.
I mean, I think we kind of we made every audience of Pokemon Unite happy. We talked about a new shiny toy. We talked about the new shiny toy we have, and then we talked about competitive. So we really got the whole scope of our experience with the game in this one episode, which I think is impressive. No one else does, but I'm gonna hold on to it.
I do too.
Thank
Good job,
you.
us. We
Good
crushed
job,
it.
us. We really, really did. We really, really did. Okay, this episode will be going up on YouTube and Spotify, things like that. So if you're listening and we're watching in either of those spots, please let us down below. Who do you think is going to be winning the February Cup? And are you excited for the auto battler? Or are you not? Let us know in the comments, all that good stuff. And please, if you want to just like share with your friend, be like, check this podcast out. I'm not gonna say no. Bridget, anything else to promote before we get out of here?
I'm tweeting all day. No, I do make silly little tweets on Twitter, formerly or currently X, the Everything app. Big Bridget on there. I'm also on Blue Sky too.
Sick.
Just Bridget.live. I know Doob Snacks is over there too, and you've been using it a little bit more too. I do really like Blue Ski. So yeah, and obviously our YouTube is poppin'. Go check out YouTube. Like, has been working on it a lot.
Yeah, we've been uploading a little bit more. We did a giveaway for Galarian and Rapidash there before as well. We're trying to get a little bit better about like early warnings of those because they're really, really awesome. Huge thank you so much for the read from Illis and you were here right at the end of our episode. Unfortunately, we're gonna be closing out and rating you guys out somewhere else too. But thank you so much for tuning in. We're at Pokemon Unite podcast, but everybody who's listening already knows that. So let's close up the episode. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Next time we talk to you, it'll be after the February Cup. We're gonna recap the Pokemon that were played, the teams that won, and all the other good vibes. I don't know. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.